back in the day when we were cavemen, we only had stressors of like if an animal was chasing us, like got a lion on your tail, like, run, you know,
that's going to be scary,
that's
isn't it?
when you're stressed.
Yeah.
And then if you manage to get away, you would calm down again. And if you kill it, then yeah, happy days, everybody's fed and you're okay for a while. And but on a day-to-day basis, we didn't have the stress that we have now. Now it's switched. Now we tend to be more in the sympathetic stage.
Yeah.
We're always stressed, we're worried, we wake up to an alarm clock. We shouldn't be waking up to an alarm clock.
No.
We should be naturally with the circadian rhythm.
Micro stressors that are in our lives every day, like, they have the same reaction as if we were cavemen and that lion is chasing us, right?
Absolutely. So your vagus nerve cannot go into the parasympathetic stage, so it then causes a lot more issues, and that's when you have issues trying to lose weight or all of those kind of things.
Welcome to the Brown Girl Rising podcast, where authenticity meets empowerment. I'm Urvashi, your host and your guide on this journey of elevating voices, sharing stories, and navigating the journey of resilience. So let's dive in.
Hi guys, welcome to Brown Girl Rising. Today I have a very good friend of mine, Nishtha Patel, on with me. Nishtha is a clinical nutritionist, a functional medicine practitioner. She has a successful online and in-person practice in London. And she helps people with autoimmune diseases, chronic illnesses like Crohn's, colitis, and RA. She's trained at the Institute of Functional Medicine with doctors such as Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Chorizian, which is a word I can't say, and has helped me on my journey with H-Pylori and reflux. And I would say that Nishtha has actually saved me. So really, I owe her a lot, and I'm so happy that you're on this podcast with me today, Nishtha. How are you?
I'm great. Oh, what an intro. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and it's great to be here, and I'm really good. Thank you.
Amazing. So look, that intro is, at the end of the day, you did help me a lot. And we'll go into that a little bit later. But the first question I want to ask you, that I ask all my guests, is what does it mean to you to be unlimited?
It means to be free, to have a quality of life where you can just be yourself, do what you want, please yourself, which I think as a brown girl rising it has been challenging, has been a journey. But I'm there now.
Yeah.
With open wings.
Yes, you are. You are absolutely soaring with open wings. And I want to talk about that quality of life you've just said. So I want to talk about my how you helped me first, and then we're going to go on to other subjects as well. But 2 years ago, when I got really ill, you were one of the first people I contacted. And you guys will know about this. I had vomiting, like consistent vomiting 8 times a day. My head was in a brain fog. I couldn't keep food down. It was awful. And one of the things Nisha said to me is check yourself for H. pylori, and the doctors wouldn't do it. I went and got my blood done privately, and then we went through the process and found that it was actually H. pylori, and you helped me. And if you hadn't, I don't know where I would be today. I think I would be on 60 milligrams of PPIs, to say the least, probably plastering it over with like other drugs, because it's a plaster over a plaster over a plaster, isn't it? So I just want to say thank you, and also to ask you, first of all, like, how did you get into functional medicine?
How did I get into it? Oh gosh. Well, my story is that my child got very sick when she was 14. We were on a holiday to Alaska, and she was jet skiing, fell off the jet ski, swallowed some water, and a few days later became chronically ill. And I just thought, okay, must be a bacterial infection or something. I wasn't trained then. But she got sicker and sicker and sicker, multiple visits to the bathroom, blood, lots of different things. Got back to the UK and they said, yeah, this is something called proctitis, something I'd never heard of. The proctitis then became colitis, and my world fell apart, just fell apart, because the more I read about it, the more I looked into it. They say that, you can't cure this. You're going to be on medication for the rest of your life. And I was like, there's got to be another way. And the medicine wasn't working anyway. There is no cure for it. They always start you off on one form of medicine, like a 5-ASA, mesalazine, and then they will give you steroids and all kinds of other things. And to watch your child go from drug to drug to drug, shaking with drugs, a cocktail of drugs, no relief from symptoms, and going from beautiful skin and just like what a normal 14-year-old would look like, to looking like an old lady by the time they're 16, with acne and steroid face and joint ache. And I just couldn't bear to watch it anymore. So I started doing my own research. I was researching the whole time anyway, because I've always been anti-drugs, really. Not anti-drugs in this, if somebody needs them, of course you need them. And even in this disease, I have a lot of patients say to me, you're the first one that said to me, but if you need the drugs, take the drugs. Because I am a firm believer that the inflammation that happens with any of these diseases must be contained first. And it's far more dangerous to be inflamed than to be, naturally things do work, but let's tackle the inflammation first and go to the root second and start working on it layer by layer. So that's what I did. I asked the doctors so many times, does diet matter? Nope, diet doesn't matter. You can eat what you want. This got nothing to do with diet. And I later found out that doctors are not really trained in nutrition at all. And through my research, I was reading, I don't know how much of this is true, but I believe it probably is true, that in the late part of the last century, and the early part of the last century, people like the Rockefellers and people they paid a lot of money to the big universities to help them with research and things. And then they said, right, now we've given you all this money, can we have one of our members on the board of governors? And eventually more and more of the came on, and they started withdrawing all the nutrition and all the natural side, because pharmaceuticals were a big thing. They were big bucks. And then we became this whole society of there's one pill for every ill. I started doing my research, and I just our diets weren't bad anyway, but I didn't know about gluten and dairy and how it affects the system, and also stress. How stress is a key player. So there was lots of different components. Anyway, I found a book by a lady called Nishtha Patel Thompson. I read the book. I got in touch with Ginny because she cured herself. Well, you can't say cured, but she'd reversed her. She'd put her Crohn's into remission. And she hasn't had any flares since. It's been many years, but you're not allowed to say cured. You have to say remission.
Because?
Well, it's like this. If I were to say to you, you've got flu this year, right? So, right, let's take some ginger and blah, 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 or take some Lemsip and whatever it is that takes care of it. And then you get better. Are you ever going to get flu again? Does that mean you're never going to get flu again?
No, it doesn't.
So it's you've kind of put it into remission.
Okay.
You have cured
Does
it.
that mean that, you've taken me on a tangent now. Does that mean that any disease that we have, you can't say we've cured it, because it could technically come back with my reflux?
Autoimmune diseases for sure, because your body is attacking itself. So they always say, once you've got an autoimmune disease, it's there for life.
Okay, so technically then, would you say I was in remission as well then?
Yeah, if you're not having...
Yeah, I've not had any flare-ups or anything, and yeah, I've cut out those things, and
you can be in remission for many years.
For the rest of my life, it sounds like.
Yeah, you can be, and then something will come along and trigger it. But there's lots of, I went on to just read Ginny's book and start implementing things and stopping things. I never advocate anybody to stop medication. I'm never going to say that. But in my case, with my child, I knew what was going on, and I knew what.
No, so mother's like intuition, isn't it? You just know.
Yeah. So I stopped very, very, very gradually, and to the point when we did the next colonoscopy, the doctor, who had her on like 6 different tablets, because there was a tablet to counteract effects of the other tablet, said to me, "Congratulations, Mrs. Patel, the medicine's finally working. The colon is completely clear. There is no sign of colitis in the colon." At which point my husband, who is a pharmacist, who was not in agreement with what I was doing, was kicking me and saying, tell him. And then I told him, I haven't given her any medicine. And he said, how long? And I said, it's been about 9 months. And he said, if this child loses her colon, it's down to you and I.
So he's just told you, well done, congratulations.
Yeah, this is like witchcraft. And I was like,
yeah, it is. I'm a medicine woman.
I said, with all due respect, doctor, you've just told me that it's come back clear. Maybe we can do some work together and we can help other children. Let's do some research. And he went, not in this lifetime, and he just walked off. So that was that.
Wow.
Then I went on to the College of Naturopathic Medicine and got my 3 years in nutrition and finished that. As soon as I finished that, I was really lucky. I was the first practitioner to work at the London Clinic of Nutrition with Oliver Barnett. So it was just he and I when London Clinic was not even on the map. And that's grown now. There's like 20 people working there now. But I started seeing patients as soon as I graduated, or clients. You're not allowed to say patients, but clients. But I do think of them as patients because they're sick, So I started seeing clients there. And then we went on to go to America to do functional medicine, which was the buzzword back then. I mean, everybody about it now. It wasn't so well known back then, but it was happening. And so I went there, did all my studies there, and started learning more and more. But that course is taught by doctors, and at that time it was for doctors. So I had to go back like my 40s and 50s and learn about this stuff. It did take me a journey.
Hey,
it's been a journey, but I've managed to help lots and lots and lots of people along the way. So, if you'd asked me 10, 12 years ago that you'd be seeing people and changing their lives, and I'd be like, who, me? No way.
It's incredible, right? So one of the things that leads people to their purpose is challenges, and not just their own challenges and traumas, but also the people around them. And so what you've done is you've taken something that you could have just dealt with your daughter, helped her out and left it, but actually it became your purpose, as like in terms of everything that you wanted to do. Your purpose has now become to help people heal, which I think is beautiful. And food really is medicine.
It is. It really is.
Or poison.
Our grandmothers were not wrong. And there's a saying, whatever you put on the end of your fork is either the greatest form of medicine or the worst form of poison.
Yeah. See, exactly that. Whatever you put on the end of your fork is the greatest form of medicine or poison. And it really makes you think that why are more people not looking at food as not just a fuel source, not just to emotionally eat it, but actually look at food to help you heal. And I think that it dates back to like Ayurveda, right? So Ayurveda, like the spices that we use in our Indian cooking and the spices that we have available to us are medicinal.
Spices, everything in that spice box is so medicinal, like cinnamon, it regulates your blood sugar. Cloves are anti-parasitic actually, but they've got other properties.
Closing your teeth when your teeth hurt. I remember that.
Cloves, yes, the oil that comes out the cloves is really good for infection. And then you've got like fennel is really great for digestion. And, cumin, again, good for digestion. There's just so many properties to that spice box, and also to herbs and vegetables like garlic. You know, my go-to, if somebody, as long as they haven't got like really severe acid reflux, and if they've got food poisoning or something like that. You know, I had a friend call me once she was in Sri Lanka, and she said, we've both been, we've had prawns and we've got food poisoning. What do I do? What do I do? It's like 2:00 in the morning. I said, oh my goodness, have you got access to a kitchen? Can you wake somebody up, or can you do this in the morning? And she said, no, I can go now. I said, go and get a piece of garlic. She went, what? I said, get a piece of garlic, take off both the end, you know, top and tail it, crush it. I want you to put your timer on your phone, leave it for no more than 10 minutes, because garlic releases something. It's got substance in it called allicin, which is so powerful. It's antiviral, antibacterial. I said, you won't feel great, and you don't need to chew it. Once you've crushed it, chuck it to the back of your throat and swig a glass of water. I said, you may get more diarrhea, you may feel sick, but it's going to get the bacteria, it's going to start killing the bacteria. You'll get something that's a herx. A herxheimer is when there's too much bacteria being killed off, make you sicker. And she went, oh my God, 6 hours. My husband refused to do that. He thought it was mental. He was sick for another 4 days. 6 hours, I was back on my feet.
No way. I feel like you've got me to do that before for some reason, probably when I was ill. I
did once.
And it is like just taking a pill, really, like a paracetamol, but it's food. It's nature's own medicine, which I think is so powerful.
Where did medicine come from in the first place? Like if you look at willow tree bark, white willow bark, that is like used in aspirin. I mean, I went to the Amazon a few years, like before COVID, and it was fascinating, all the plants that you see in the Amazon and how they help different things and how they used to heal back in the day. And even with our diets, right? We were told, don't eat ghee, don't eat saturated fats and things like that. Like
that will make you fat.
Ghee is so rich in butyric acid. It's so good for the gut. It's so good for the short chain fatty acid production. You know, we need that. It helps feed those colonocytes in your gut. And it's way better to have a teaspoon of ghee than a teaspoon of sunflower oil with the rubbish oils.
Yeah, processed stuff, right?
In the thing.
So do you think then that, you know, these ancient medicine practices like Ayurveda and whatever else there might be across the world, and the Amazon are using, you know, natural medicine, do you think that then is functional medicine a kind of, does it use that as a route? Has it used those tools? Because what I'm trying to get at is we've got this Western medicine, we've got functional medicine, but we've got this old ancient medicine as well. And like yoga, and you might find this, I'm going off on a bit, but you might find, like, you know, with yoga, it's been taken from our culture, it's then been whitewashed and sold back to us. Is there a bit of whitewashing going on and them selling us back functional medicine when actually it's just Ayurveda, baby?
It's not just Ayurveda, because they do incorporate, they go back to ancient practices. They do use food as medicine, but it's a cumulative action of everything. It's not just Ayurveda, but it will use traditional Chinese medicine practices. It will incorporate Ayurvedic practices. It is a holistic approach. So what we do is, it's very comprehensive. It's listening to the patient first. No one's going to know what's wrong with a client or a patient, more than that client or patient themselves. Listen to what they're telling you. Their body, we go through every system of the body. So we're looking at, if you've seen my intake forms.
Yes.
They're essays.
Went back to how I was born. I was like, what?
Yeah. So that's important. How were you born? Were you naturally born? Were you breastfed? Were you bottle fed? Did your mum have a stressful time delivering you? What was your mother's health like? Your mother's stress levels will impact you.
Yeah.
In fact, it goes back 3 generations. So
wow.
To our grandmothers and, all our cells.
And this is why we have to do the ancestral healing work, right?
Yeah. Which I've learned about sort of along this journey. So yeah, you're looking at that, you're looking at different systems. We don't look at, okay, so the gut, if you come to me with gut problems, I'm not just looking at the gut, because the gut is connected to the brain, it's connected to the liver. Digestion starts up here. If I said to you, here, Ash, I'm giving you a lemon, visualize yourself sort of sucking on that lemon, what's happening to you?
Like I'm getting like that feeling of like I've just sucked on a lemon and there's like, saliva coming in
so your
my
brain
mouth.
is signaling, right? So your brain signals, your salivary glands to produce the amylase, the enzymes to break down the food,
which then produces more acid in your stomach, getting ready for that lemon, right?
Yeah, so you chew, and then your brain has to tell the esophagus to push it down, and then you have to produce hydrochloric acid. That hydrochloric acid then breaks down your food. That food then goes into the small intestine. The nutrients get taken out, and so on and so forth. But if something's not working right, then it's going to have a knock-on effect. And like with functional medicine, we do a lot of advanced, like when I've done Dr. Karazian's courses, I've learned about traumatic brain injuries, or somebody's had an issue with a knock on the head, how that can affect digestion. Like you would never put two together, but there's so many things. And then you're looking at environment, you're looking at toxins, you're looking at hydration, sunlight, sleep, every component that's going to be nourishing your cells or combinations with your cells.
It is incredible. You are literally a real life medicine woman. I just want to say that again. So you just spoke about how our bodies do so many things without us even realizing, and that's like the autonomic nervous system, right? And it's just there. Our heart beats, we don't think about it. We blink, we don't think about it. The way my hand is moving right now, we're not thinking about it. I swallow when I need to, I breathe when I need to. It's all autonomic. But there are 2 parts of our autonomic nervous system as well, aren't there? There's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. I can't even say it. Sympathetic. Now, you and I have both, in our own little worlds, been going on a bit of a journey into the nervous system for various different reasons. And some of it is very similar. So I just want to talk about kind of the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is part of our parasympathetic nervous system. When we stimulate it, it can control a whole load of things. It can relax our state. Can you just tell us about the power of this vagus nerve and why it's so important?
The vagus nerve, it's a cranial nerve from the brain, and it stems all the way down to the trunk of the body. It's like, think of it as an 8-lane highway, like a super highway. It connects to your intestines, it connects to your heart, it connects to lots of things, and all the autonomic things that you've just mentioned, like when your eyes dilate, your pupils dilate, or if you're swallowing, you're breathing, your heartbeat, it's connecting to, it's in control of all of that. Now, back in the day when we were cavemen, we only had stressors of like, if an animal was chasing us, like, you've got a lion on your tail, like, run,
that's going to be scary, isn't it?
When you're stressed. And then if you manage to get away, you would calm down again. And you would be, if you kill it, then happy days, everybody's fed and you're okay for a while. And then the only other stressor we'd have, type of stresses we'd have, is if it got really cold, your body would have to regulate and try and do really hot or whatever. But on a day-to-day basis, we didn't have the stress that we have now. Now it's switched. Now we tend to be more in the sympathetic stage.
Yeah.
We're always stressed. We're worried. We wake up to an alarm clock. Imagine, we shouldn't be waking up to an alarm clock.
No.
We should be naturally with the circadian rhythm. When it, the sun rises, you should be getting up when the sun sets. We should be going to sleep. We should have that fasting time in between. What do? We're eating late at night. We're snacking. We're putting that stressor on our body. We've got phones. We've got Wi-Fi. We're not giving brains time, our cells time. We're putting toxins in our body. Sometimes we're living in moldy environments that can affect you too. Sometimes when people are drinking and eating, rubbish like fizzy drinks
But these micro stressors that are in our lives every day, like, yes, okay, there might be some big stressors like your boss or whatever, but these micro stressors, like waking up to an alarm, like, the environmental stuff, they have the same reaction as if we were cavemen and that lion is chasing us, right?
Absolutely. So your vagus nerve cannot go into the parasympathetic stage. So it then causes a lot more issues with things in your day-to-day life, and that's when you have issues trying to lose weight or trying to regulate your stress levels, all of those kind of things.
And then we have like high levels of cortisol and adrenaline, which also makes losing weight really hard and being healthier really hard. And that leads me nicely onto the fact that actually both of us have been on health journeys, and what we've come to realize, even me as a personal trainer, as I educate myself more and more on our bodies, on the nervous system, how the vagus nerve works, etc., and how the sympathetic nervous system works, is that actually for us to feel safe in our bodies, to lose the weight that has been hiding us from the world, we have to look at other things, not just looking at what exercises I'm doing and just what nutrition I'm doing. There is so much more.
Absolutely. And cortisol is a big player. So if you are in that sympathetic stage where your cortisol levels are high, your body is going to just be like in that fight or flight, trying to preserve everything it can. So it's not letting go. So, and then what do? We do HIIT training, and we do like running, and we're putting more stress on the body. So you'd actually benefit from doing maybe Pilates or yoga, doing some meditation and some breath work, and those kind of things start to help bring that back into balance, into equilibrium.
We need to, I think that needs to be more well known now. With that message needs to go out there now. It's not just about going to the gym and doing that HIIT class or that boxing class. Yes, once in a while it's absolutely great for your energy systems, but for your body to feel safe. And when we say feel safe, we're talking about getting into a parasympathetic state of rest and digest, rather than that adrenal fight or flight state of the sympathetic. And when we're in that rest digest, our bodies get chance to have magic happen. Like, we look at things like energy flow throughout the body, and it's so important to move every day, but it doesn't necessarily mean go for a run. It could be, as you said, Pilates, such a gentle thing to do, but actually work.
Go for a walk, go into nature.
Yes.
Get some sunlight, get some vitamin D, appreciate what's going around you in nature. All of those kind of things are going to help quite a lot. And yoga, there are certain practices in yoga, like when you do the Brahmi, when you close your eyes and you do the humming, vibrations from the humming, they stimulate that vagus. Singing.
Yep.
Choirs, people that are in choirs, community, sort of doing all that kind of thing together, that makes a big difference.
And I'm kind of proof of that. So I have been a 108 kilo woman, I've been a 55 kilo woman, I've been in the middle at 70 to 80, right? And when I got really ill and my body was in this sympathetic nervous state of constant adrenaline, constant vomiting, constant like, oh my God, what's going on? I actually put on 12 kilos. So I put on weight, and it's a known fact that cortisol is the fat hormone, right? And I put on this weight, 12 kilos of weight. And actually recently, over the last 4 months since I've been back from Bali, I've started working on the vagus nerve. I have started working on like doing more breath work and humming, and even just saying like
it's massive.
So powerful, because your vagus nerve goes from your cranial, as Nishtha said, down through past your ears into your throat and all the way down. And when you start vibrating that, it has so much power at relaxing your body.
It does. And it's so important that we take that time out to do that, because chronic illnesses start when you're in the sympathetic all the time.
Yeah. And unfortunately, most of our society is in the sympathetic.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, look, there is so much more, like when it comes to the vagus nerve and when it comes to functional medicine and practices. But I'd like to know kind of, what are your 5 tips, or what are your 5 tools that you use daily to help bring you into that calm state?
Okay. I do cold showers.
Oh God, no.
I can't do just a cold shower. So I have a hot shower, and in the last 30 seconds to a minute, I go cold.
Yeah.
I do yoga
Mm-hmm.
regularly, and breath work. So those things help. I do some meditation.
Yeah.
I do a walk daily.
You do multiple walks daily because you have a puppy, right?
Yeah, I do multiple walks, but at least one long one.
Yeah.
A shorter one when I can. And those are things that I do. I hydrate well, and I eat well, nourish my body.
Yeah.
Talking
of hydration, it's so important that we drink the right water, because our water isn't necessarily clean, right? Filter it, and to just try and find ways of having clean water, because supposedly even bottled water, like I've got a bottle of water here right now, like that isn't that great for you, even though it's mountain spring water, because it's in plastic.
Yeah. And plastic, it's got bisphenol A and other chemicals that leach into that water. You don't know where that water, how it got to you, transported to you, where it's been sitting in the shop, whatever. And
how long it's been in that bottle.
It does leach out. So a good water filter and plus, when you think about water, it's pretty gross, isn't it? Because it's the same water that comes out of our sewage systems. Imagine how many chemicals they need to put in there to clean it. And also now, since the 60s, like women have been taking hormonal pills, people on medicine.
That's all being peed out into that. Oh God. So have you found a water filter system that you think is good?
I recommend a water filter system to many of my clients, which is the Aquasana.
I've heard of it. Yeah,
you've got different, you can do a countertop or whatever. I in my house have a zip tap which has got double filter on it before the water comes out, but
so I have started using something called a lark bottle, and it has different tops. So one of the tops I can use, I press a button and it literally takes out any bacteria that might be in the water. And then the next one is a filter, and it takes out all the heavy metals, the chlorine, the leads, all that kind of stuff. And honestly, I've been using it a week and my water tastes so different. And I've started drinking I've got a bottle here, but like I've started drinking quote unquote tap water that's been, filtered multiple times now, and it tastes incredible. So I'm just like,
it's a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. So guys, you need to invest in a water filter of some kind to help you.
So if you don't like water, once you've done that, you can infuse it. You can put like fruit in there, or vegetables, even like cucumbers and things like that, and it infuses the water and gives it a little bit of flavor.
I do like cucumber and mint water. It's really nice, actually. Oh wow, amazing. How much water do you think someone should drink a day?
It's very dependent. I do 2 liters, but too much water is not good either, because you can flush things out. So about 2 liters a day.
I know that because before I got ill with tonsillitis and ended up in hospital for 3 days, I was drinking 4.5 liters of water every single day.
Much,
because that was a gallon, and it was an exercise program I was on which says drink a gallon of water a day. And honestly, I think I don't absorb vitamins that well anyway, and I think anything I did absorb was just flushed out my system.
Flushed it out. If you're not absorbing vitamins very well, or minerals, always take them in a liquid form.
Okay, there you go, guys, another bit of advice there. So say someone is struggling right now with their health, maybe also they're struggling with other things alongside that, with their mental health and clarity and things like that, and they can't afford to see someone like you, for example. Can you give them a tip that they can use today? What is the one thing you can tell everyone to do today to make their lifestyle better for them?
Just one.
Well, okay, let's go with 3, Nishtha. Let's go with 3.
Okay. First of all, do something like calming yourself down, like some meditation or some breath work or something like that. You'll find that makes a world of difference. If you can't, I don't mean meditate, sit there and just think of nothing. Do a guided meditation. Somebody like Dr. Joe Dispenza, or like an Insight Timer app or something like that. Make sure you take time out for yourself every day. Don't be eating in a hurry, on the go, and reduce the amount of processed and fast foods you eat, because they have a knock-on effect on your mental health. Preservatives, additives, sweeteners, sugar, all of those things. So as much as you can, try and eat clean.
Yeah. Beautiful. And if someone wants to get in contact with you, how do they do that?
You can go to my website, thegutexpert.com, and there is a form on there that you can fill in. What I now do is I do a 1-hour call, which I find is really, really necessary before I take patients on, because I want to know what your journey is, what you've tried, what you haven't tried. If I can help you, 99% of the time I can, but if I find that the case is super, super complicated and one of my colleagues can do it, but I don't deal with cancer and diseases like that. But if I need to, I have a really vast network of top-notch practitioners that I've worked with personally at the London Clinic and beyond. So I would refer you on to a specialist, or if I take you on, then that would be separate after we've had that discovery call.
And you can also, your social media, how do they get hold of you on social media?
I'm the Gut Expert _ on Instagram and the Gut Expert on Facebook. So
incredible. Thank you for those details. If anyone wants to get in contact with Nishtha with regards to maybe gut health or autoimmune disease or anything like that, then just go to thegutexpert.com or find the Gut Expert _ on Instagram. And on that note, we've been talking about the parasympathetic nervous system and looking at different ways at losing weight. My next program, Embody, starts on the 15th of January, which is exactly that, leading you into a more into a safe space for your own body, so that you can actually start to release the weight and remove the weight that you've been holding on to because you've not felt safe. We look at traumas, we look at limiting beliefs, and we look at actually working and stimulating the vagus nerve as well. So that starts on the 15th of January 2024. I will put the links and everything in the show notes. So thank you, Nishtha, for your time. I appreciate you being here today. And guys, we will see you next time.
Thanks.